Okay, hello, friends. This is a public service announcement. This is a notice, a public notice, because you really do need to have the awareness of what's actually going on out here in the universe. So, especially in Ohio, you're going to find your state and federal actors, and which is inclusive of the judges and judge magistrates, clerks of court, quasi judicial long arm of the court, Ohio attorneys. They're all colluding and conspiring together, and they're running all kinds of different frauds and swindles, all right, in different arenas: housing, employment, education, um, healthcare, for sure. What you'll find is it's a lot of false claims. Many of the frauds and swindles and scandals, like Ponzi schemes and so on and so forth, are grounded in insurance. So where you find like insurers, you're going to find frauds, and these are your culprits. And these people sit at like the high table, right? These are your most trusted. And they are, in fact, in cahoots and collusion with public officers as well. Just like your Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost, the former U.S. Attorney of Southern Ohio, Kenneth Parker, and also Kenneth Parker's attorney, um, who was counsel of record in a particular or a couple of writs. I think it may have just been one writ at the Ohio Supreme Court, 2024-1320. These writs at the Ohio Supreme Court, public, you'll need to go look at, because that is your public awareness and public notice that I deliberately intended to create, because I already know um, the tactics of these particular individuals. These are actually criminals, and they should be usurped from office, impeached, arrested, charged, and imprisoned. In fact, these types of crimes that they are perpetrating warrant grand jury indictment. And this particular judge here is complicit. And her name is Kimberly Cockroft. And she is an administrative judge of the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas General. And this particular judge is a hypocrite. She actually is sitting and delaying a motion. Well, it's an entire case that I had to file a complaint for protective order, emergency protective order at that, because I'm being gang stalked by many, many of these same individuals that I'm talking about. And it is systemic. And it does include prosecutors. So, of the Ohio Attorney General's office, the city prosecutor's office, Franklin County prosecutor's office. Got the city prosecutor's office, Zach Klein, Tina Rosenberg. Not quite sure who else might be. Tierra Ross. Now, Tierra Ross has it. I can't say she's gang stalking me right now, but she is absolutely complicit in federal um, frauds and swindles on governmental grants, like the HUD Pro Housing Grant. The city of Columbus and the city council, like Zach Davidson and Michael S. Brown, Cassandra Skurlock, other city employees, Todd Dillard, um, individuals with the city code enforcement, the inspectors or supervisors or whatever. It's a lot of different complicit parties, and that would be your housing example of the frauds and swindles. They fraud in housing. They are frauding the pro housing um, grant. The city of Columbus is doing is writing in their application or their proposal that they have a constitutional city ordinance that protects tenants' rights, and that's a lot. They do not have a constitutional ordinance that allows tenants to exercise their rights, especially to speak up, speak out against a landlord about conditioned dwellings that are unsafe and habitable. And as that's a vote face thought. And in fact, there's a case that you can reference which made the city ordinance unconstitutional, and that is City of Columbus versus Walter Thyman. And Tierra Ross was the prosecutor in that particular case. And Walter Thyman actually challenged that ordinance. He obviously was a property owner, a landlord, or whatever. And the city in that initial ordinance that they had would often, they call it incentivize landlords to not retaliate. And I got that word incentivize from Tierra Ross in an email that she sent me. It was to bring a retaliation case on my behalf via the city a severe landlord retaliation case against a guy named Christian Quadatata and Rob Ravak of All County, Nia. But it never did happen because essentially in all these cases, what you'll end up finding is frauds and swindles. It's a lot of corrupted patterns of criminal practice because these individuals are actually having their own business relationships, and there's a lot of different conflicts of interest and personal interests amongst them. So if you bring a suit or something up where you have to have your grievances redressed, and they're going to bind together and they're going to ensure that they get all of their bar guild members, they're all bar guild members, to hone in and collude with them and conspire to ensure that you will never get your grievances. So that's definitely the issue with, and I'm sure it probably has been with others in the past, and they couldn't quite put their finger on what it was. But now at this particular point, it's become really, really severe. And these individuals they're just like psychopaths. These are Alex Murdaugh's brewing. Yeah, these is like the motherfuckers you're gonna see on I Am a Killer real soon, telling their side of the story, because you're gonna want to know public like what made you keep on doing the same shit to this girl and her family, and you know there's no way out. There's no way out. These people are going to undoubtedly go to prison if anyone in a federal agency or role um does their job. They act, they perform, they comprehensively investigate. Okay. Yeah, because in these particular issues and cases, I told you in all those particular arenas, there's material tribal facts, of course, but these material tribal facts are not something that I literally have to even go into a court and show anybody. They speak for themselves in the governmental portals and things like that, or databases or whatever, whatnot, that's easily verifiable with a risk management type of an audit or whatever. Okay, so yeah, pretty much. And then a lot of the cases themselves, the way that I set them up, it speaks for themselves too, and it draws these certain inferences to where the facts lie, undisputable and inarguable. That's why you will never see any of these Ohio attorneys and refute or rebut or contra oppose anything that I'm saying at all. If they try to, say they try to put in a motion to dismiss and then they put some of their legal argument in there, they'll never authenticate whatever they're saying in that with an oath or affirmation under penalty of perjury, though. Yeah. And they've been getting away with that. And you're never to let them ever get away with that, people in the public. Anything that anyone is filing in a court, and especially if you know you're standing on truth and they're lying, you demand that they put in a sworn oath or affirmation under penalty of perjury. And then you watch how fast these other case fixing tactics. But what they'll do is if you're demanding things that they know they don't have, and they're perpetrating crimes of corruption on the people, like taxpayers, voters, and the United States, like the federal government, the state government, and also the federal funds, like the grants and loans and other programs or initiatives that the federal government or the public sponsors and funds, which actually is the taxpayer dollar. So it's your money, taxpayer. That's why everything I talk about or anything that's in any of these courts is a public interest in public policy. It's actually nationally significant. It impacts everyone. And that's why they're working so diligently to cover everything up. And this is almost like the entire bar guild of the state of Ohio. And you have Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, you have Ohio Attorney Dave Yost. I said the former U.S. District Attorney Kenneth Parker and his particular counsel of the U.S. Department of Justice, John Stark. You have John Stark is a liar. Also, you'll want to follow the case of the U.S. District of Southern 2:24 CB 04255. And you have Algernon Marbley, who's a bully and a tyrant who has deprived all of my inalienable fundamental civil liberties, God-given, guaranteed. He subrogated and abrogated all of my fucking rights. I can't, no man, no state, no one, even myself, I couldn't give them up. They're not waivable. He took them all because he's a tyrant, he's a bully, he's a dictator, he's an authoritarian, he's a psychopath, right? And you can tell he's narcissistic. He retaliated as I started exposing his complicity in all these particular crimes. His bar guild members, all of their bar guild members, okay, is who they're actually protecting as well. So there's a couple fundamental things that these individuals are coming together to shield and defend one another and cover up and make sure you never know public and make sure I never get my grievances redressed that are actually bona fide meritorious, good faith and grounded in cognizable legal base. So I don't have to have no attorney. I can represent myself. Algernon Marbley said I must have an attorney before I can come before any court. No, I don't. He declared me a fictitious litigator and put some filing restrictions. Well, that's not lawful either, and it's never been proven. There is no substantive evidence to prove whatever the fuck put on there. He did it sua sponte in retaliation for the affidavit of disqualification. That's actually in all of the cases that he enjoined at the U.S. District Court of Ohio, Southern, Algernon Marbley. So I put the affidavit disqualification in on like May the 10th of 2024, and immediately he turned around. And in any investigation, you would meet the elements of retaliation because the time frame is looked at. He retaliated on May the 15th after Phil Butler or Robert or Richard Nagel or Scott Miller, Kelly Hewer, Eduardo Riviera, Christina Bono, Jeffrey Geary. One of them over there fucked with the federal mail overnight, flat rate $30 and like 25 cents with signature. They opened it, they received it, they opened it, they mutilated it, then they sent it back. They didn't do what clerks are supposed to do. So if you didn't file something correctly or something you did inadvertently, not in accordance to a rule, they could open it and review it. Then they usually type out something to send back, say you this doesn't meet rule XYZ, so you have X amount of time to perfect it and then resubmit. This is not what that is. This is actually interference with the mail. These clerks of courts, they interfere with the mail. The regular mail, yes, but you can't really prove that. That's why you got to go certify, because you might be able to prove that better. But the best approach is registered mail. I said things registered mail, but Richard Nagel and the U.S. Court of Appeals, Sixth Circuit, Kelly Stevens, most definitely tampers with registered mail even, and they've been reported. So these are RICO racketeers. These are actually treasonous RICO racketeers of the judiciary in Ohio. And I already told you about Mike DeWine, Dave Yost, Kenneth Parker, John Stark. These are federal, state and federal actors like representing the judiciary, and they're supposed to have integrity, but they don't. It's a dereliction of duty across the board, right? But it's actually misprision of a felony as well, because each and every individual actually does know about the frauds and swindles on the government grant, loan, and other programs that the federal government pays for, or it's publicly funded. It could even be a tax levy or something like that that's been placed on your property that you had to vote on and agree. So, like with the Adam Board of Franklin County, some people in Columbus, Ohio, agreed to have an extra tax levy placed on their property to help contribute to the funding of, vulnerable population types of resources like mental health accesses outpatient facilities or your addictive substance disorder types of deal for vulnerable populations of people to have these sites and facilities that they could go to for services or whatever dosing, or you might have inpatient detox, you may have ambulatory Suboxone or methadone types of clinics, you may have counseling services, you may have inpatient long-term recovery, be for men, for women, for adults, or adolescent. I worked in a place, Mary Haven, it was just all encompassing these types of services. And these types of services are actually great for that particular population in the community when they are utilized for what they're there for. But what I have found in trying to get my own grievances pressed, that the reason why I'm retaliated against so much, I've uncovered what it really is. It's because in each one of my cases, I bring up the fact that, there's no real access to these particular funds, that there's misappropriation of the funds. And then, like in the city of Columbus instance with Zach Klein, Sheena Rosenberg, and Tierra Ross, Christopher Clark will also be a witness. He's a city prosecutor, witness in this particular instance. The address of the place that was inhabitable, unsafe, and hazardous, that the owner of a property, he owned 2949 and 2951 Hubbard Place 43068 in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Hubbard Place, Reynoldsburg, Ohio 43068. He owned both of those properties, unsafe and habitable. Hazardous, we almost blew up in here like a gas leak. Yeah, it was really, really bad. Vested with rats, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but if you would ever like to look at the public records, you can go and send an email to like www.311.gov or give a call to the city of Columbus in Columbus, Ohio, and ask them what their processes are for obtaining the public records for 2951 Hubbard Place, Reynoldsburg, Ohio 43068. In fact, you can ask them for any public they may have with that April Clark has ever filed, ever. And if you do that, then you will find every single slumlord or any and everyone that is perpetrating bad business, corruptive patterns of criminal practice, and they have been historically for years and years and years and years, and it is continuing. So that's RICO racketeering, okay? Because it's historical, that's predicate. Continuity relationship, does it keep going on and on and on? Can you draw that back to the predicate cases and things like that? Same old shit. Yes, I can. And you will begin to see the same common denominators as far as the Ohio attorneys being the handlers. They're the ones that have one foot in the court, one foot out in the regular world, networking and partnering with different businesses and corporations, nonprofits or foundations. Those executives, COO, CFO, vice president, like that, like say, take for instance, out of Franklin County, Susan VI, LLILO, vice president, is complicit in cover up of Medicare frauds and swindles, false claims. Yes, that Southeast Mental Health, Wendy Williams, chief operating officer, Dr. Abu Hassan, and a lot of other complicit actors, Kate, Kim McCauley, Margaret Hitty, Catherine Goldemeiler. What they do is they fake and fraud and pretend and act as if they have actually provided counseling services or case management services to the population of mental health, but really they haven't at all. But yet they never even notified the person that's a consumer there that they have the option to opt into these particular services, but they're actually billing Medicare for this particular service, and they're getting paid. They have been paid. That's false claims because it's not true, and it's easily verifiable. So that's why I mean what I say. Um, when I say when you are dealing with something like this, it's best to have your documentation and everything, but also be able to guide and refer a true investigator to their very own databases where they can look. You can go to the medical claims data and you can look at the events and you can look and see what practitioner office or facility or whatever has submitted what claims to an insurer like Medicare, which is insurance. See all the frauds and swindles, lots of marine insurance. Yeah, and then you can go and pull the patient and you can actually do a query in a database specific to whatever date you're looking for and everything, whatever date that they put a claim in for, and they put that was the date of service for counseling service or case management, you can pull that particular event specifically for that member. Insurance patients are called members, and providers are called chasers. So then you can actually take that information and present to Southeast Mental Health and require the record, demand the record, or you can call them and say, I need this particular record sent to me encrypted. An auditor could. And an auditor could take a look at the record and see that there's no session whatsoever. Because when you have a session, there's certain components. So you have to have a SOAP note or something. You have to have some subjective data. Why are they saying that they're here? What is the perspective of the patient or the individual, or what's going on with them? What are they telling you? Then you have to have an objective line item. You have to have an assessment, a plan, evaluation. And in these particular instances, when I say they will not have it, they will not. And that's fraud, false claim. But Susan VILLILLO covered it up with out of Border Franklin County in Columbus, Ohio, with Erica Jones, CEO, and Carly Tennant, clinical supervisor. And they know a lot about many harms onto vulnerable populations and individuals, especially in the mental health. Yep, Carly Tennant knows about River Vista in Columbus, Ohio, physically abusing patients. Also knows that a man punched a female in the face in a co-ed psych ward where it's severe mental health psychiatric issues on this particular floor. And a man punched a woman in the face and messed up her thing. And nobody did anything. Like didn't put in an incident report or nothing or call an ambulance or do anything whatsoever. Yeah, and so those are individuals that are nurses and physicians or, STNAs or PCAs or whatever they are there, anyone witnessing that, and they did not put in incident reports or they did not act to ensure that the patient was okay, the member or whoever was there, and there's certain protocols. First of all, you have to even notify a practitioner that is either there or on call what's going on and get the particular orders on how you should move forward. And usually it's repeated types of checks every 15 to 30 minutes or something like that, taking vitals and then calling and updating the practitioner on what's going on so we see next best. But in this particular instance, that's an assault. You would have had to immediately call law enforcement. It doesn't matter if the person is in the inpatient. It doesn't matter. It's still assault. It needs to be reported. Number one, that person doesn't matter. Still has to be held accountable. Due process, they're entitled to absolutely, but you still have to be held accountable for your actions. And if that had been your mother, your sister, your daughter, your friend, your cousin, or whoever in that inpatient place, and some big ass man punched them in the face like that, when you want to fucking know it, that's the motherfucking shit I'm talking about. Okay? I didn't work there. My son was in there as a patient, came home and told me what the fuck I looked like not telling somebody about the shit. So I did. I called Catherine Reamer of the Ohio Mental Health Association. That bitch didn't do shit. I also told her that they had my 19-year-old son there smoking fucking cigarettes and shit like that. They was tying him down, like I'm sure they tie other people down without orders of restraint, shooting him up with B-52. Those are forced meds. You literally have to have um, orders. So you can, if the person is out of control, as far as a danger to themselves and others, you can get a practitioner that's there to give the order. But just continually shooting people up with medications, forced meds, you literally have to go and petition the probate court to have an order put in. You have to really genuinely be able to substantiate why you're feeling that you need to do that because it's constitutional right deprivations at the end of the day. You just can't be grabbing people, kidnapping them, shooting them up with shit, tying them down, abusing them, but they're doing it all the time. And that's the type of shit that Susan Villillo, Vice President out of Board of Franklin County, covers up. Erica Jones covers up. Carly Tennant covers up. Kathleen Reamer, she was the director of the Ohio Mental Health Association, covers up. Nidra Davis, Ohio Attorney General fraud investigator, covers up, obviously, because she's the one who brought the proof over, matter of fact, to my house about the Medicare frauds and swindles on my son's Medicare payer able mental health population. He gets SSDI as a surviving beneficiary of his father's social, which is insurance. Yeah. So there's no lies. I don't lie. These people out here have deemed me to be a vexatious litigator. My name's April Clark. Okay. That's frivolous. It's unlawful, and actually it's defamation, slander, and libel, in fact. And there will be many, many, many personal injury courts to follow after my 42 U.S. 1983, 1985, 1986. And we've already initiated the standard Form 95 administrative exhaustion process because I will be suing these individuals. So either the United States can come to the table and settle for the tortious acts, egregious, ill will, wanton, unconstitutional, and malicious actions of their employees because they are vicariously liable. And they get 6 months to do whatever investigation. If they don't want to say shit about it, then that time it comes to the table to settle and get these motherfuckers off my back because these are gang stalkers. I'm going to sue the United States. So it's best that the United States gets rid of these bad apples, which they plan to do. Already got a letter. Department of Justice is on the shits. They've already referred out to several different federal agencies. So as you know, you already received a letter letting you know that they're not going to defend any administrative judge or any of these motherfuckers that's perpetrating this type of shit out here. Why do you think they sent the letter? They already know what's happening. They already know what's going on. But that's your notice. You have to give notice, right? So they did. They gave them the notice. They're not going to be held vicariously liable for your bullshit. They've already begun. All right. So public, it's up to you. You can go and look for yourself at any case that I talk about or any case that you see my name anywhere. Any and everything that I say is absolutely true. These are not allegations. These are facts. They're undisputed. There's no argument. These are hands down win cases in every single. And there's probably about 26 in the Ohio Supreme Court by and through writ mandamus. And then there's the appeal case 2024 AP 1173, and that was Sharon L. Kennedy, the justice who needs to be um, obstructing justice and covering that particular case up because it's actually a money heist scheme of her bar guild members. Brian Spitzer, Greg Schumacher, Alex Frondorf, Richard Diageo, and Chris Brown, the judge at the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas, general, and he case fixed that particular case. That's what they do. It's nothing but frauds and swindles, and they utilize the court as their conduit to case. Yeah, they all do it. It's all these attorneys and judges because the attorney has one foot in the court and then one foot out here in the public, fraud and scam scheme. And those corporations and businesses that the attorney is representing, they already have to tie into the court. So if anybody comes up against the corporation, the attorney is going to make sure that the judge sways any type of decision by case fixing the outcomes in their best benefit. And there's probably all kinds of kickbacks and bribes and all this type of stuff involved. But now that you have the awareness, you can keep your eye out on the case, and then you can go back and revisit any case you've had and be able to determine and discern that the same types of frauds and swindles have in your particular case, where you just wonder how in the world were they able to just find summary judgment? It's all this material tribal factor. These things have to be communicated on the merit. What's going on here? How were they able to do that? It's fraud. This case. Karen Phipps does it, and she did do it. In Franklin County Court of Common Pleas General 22CV003. Zero cahoots of collusion with Alex Castle, Michael Cassell, and Michael Cassell. What they do, their deal is in house, and they file unlawful evictions, and things like that on people, especially those who report property owners or property management to the city. And then, what do you call it? What are those things called? Like code violations and things like that get issued and stuff. Yeah. So go look at the Franklin County Municipal Court case, City of Columbus versus Walter Diamond. I believe it was 2020 ERB 072192. Prosecuting attorney was Tierra Ross. You'll find there that ultimately in 2021, Stephanie Mingo, the presiding judge, deemed a particular ordinance for 2018 that the City of Columbus and the City Council, by and through their city budget management fiscal department, keep applying for grants like the pro housing grant. Knowing that that particular ordinance was deemed unconstitutional, but they keep saying that they have that in place and they're going to do this and the other for tenants, but it's not true. And because of that fraud and swindle, and I brought it up in my case when I sued Krishna Quadatada and All County Neo Rob Ravak, where All County Neo is Michael Cassone, the attorney's very own personal real estate property management company for his own personal endeavor. See, conflict of interest. That's what it is. It's always something going on. They're all in bed with each other. And then they go into these courts and they fake and fraud different court proceedings. It's fraudulent, frivolous, misrepresented types of filings, pleadings, even briefs. And then at every single court level, they have somebody there to continue the frauds and swindles in the case fixing. So it will start at the municipal court, and all of them is in on it. Then, if you go over to common pleas, like I went over to common pleas and sued Krishna Quadatada All County Neo because of the prayer amount, Franklin County Municipal with jurisdiction, and that's when Karen Phipps and my counsel were able to case fix. And Michael Cassone, the reason why he gave that particular case to Alex Castle is because I had already notified the lower court, Franklin County Court in 2021 CB 020711, fake, frivolous, fraudulent, unlawful eviction filing by Michael Cassone. I had already notified in my motion to vacate and all these motions and all of this, but also right before James Green, I told him that Michael Cassone had threatened me, which he did. He sent a letter telling me if I did not retract a true report of fraud to Amazon and Liberty Mutual, this particular client submitting fake, frivolous, false claims to them to get them to renovate his place pretty much overall. That's the ultimate goal. And well, he was just wanted to pay the minimal copay. He was renting out this shit shackle bullshit that he never got inspections when he is aware of the pre-existing conditions. But what he does is he lists his property with the auditor's office or whatever they got to do. The renter, he knows everything is broken, everything is fucked. No electricity, there's rats, there's roaches, there's everything. He knows that all his amenities that's in there is broken and dirty and raggedy. He already knows. He knows his place is a fire hazard. He knows he has faulty pipe. He knows everything is messed up. He bought it for 10 cents. He doesn't intend anything with it because he's going to go and get insurance. Then, when the tenant starts complaining, what he's going to do is merely pay the copay and then transfer all the real costs over to the insurance company to ultimately have them renovate his entire place. That's Christian Qualatata. He's an Indian man, lives out in Las Vegas, Nevada. He has some cuisine restaurant out there. He's fraud and he's scamming, and he's in cahoots and collusion with Alex Castle, Michael Casone, and Rob Gravatt, all county Neo, and Karen Phipps, case fixed 22CV00360 in Columbus, Ohio, Franklin County General Court to cover that up. And she found summary judgment where there's a jury demand on the case, and literally everything that's in there. It's too many material tribal facts. It literally has to be educated on the merit as a matter of law. So that's what she does. That's what they do everywhere. It's the exact same thing that Chris Brown did in 22CV07866, which is a fake, frivolous, fraudulent interpleader. Alex Frondor filed. It's a money heist scam scheme. And these attorneys stole $15,028 from me. That's actually a balance owed as part of the Title VII Rights Act of 1969 for EEOC mediation settlement agreement. The settlement is actually a contract, but they covered up the contract and they were still ruling and doing whatever they wanted to do at a state court, which doesn't have jurisdiction in this particular instance because that particular case, EEOC and the Title VII Civil Rights Act of 1960 case was already up in federal court. It was just dismissed on stipulation because it was a settlement. In that particular case is U.S. District Court of Ohio, 2:22 B02 519 April Park versus CBS slash Aetna. Yep. So when state law courts continue to just do whatever they want without warrant, authority, or jurisdiction, that's what the state law courts do, and they did. Chris Brown did it. 22CV0078666, 22CV0089447, Frank County Court of Common Pleas General, and so did Michael Holbrook. This particular case is consolidated with those, which is 22CV08936. They're all complicit. And these are the crimes that they perpetrate. That's actually grand larceny, criminal conversion of equitable property valued at $15,028, stolen by Ohio attorneys Brian Spitz, Trisha Breedlove, Greg Schumacher, with the help of Chris Brown. And the mastermind is Alex Frondorf and Richard Diageo, Littner Mendelson. C and host of other attorneys are involved, like Karen Gaster of Aetna Resources LLC. She's an attorney as well. She needs to be in prison. All of them did, because that money, the $15,028, is actually evidence of a fake fraudulent remittance advice on the Citibank draft of account holders Health Pharmacy Inc. My money that's reflected on there. I don't even know who CVS Health Pharmacy Inc. is. They're not the tortfeasor in the original claim of the U.S. District Court of Ohio Southern, Title VII Civil Rights Act 1964. They're not the tortfeasor. The tortfeasor is Aetna Resources LLC. That was the employer. They found a fake frivolous interpleader to steal my money. Yeah, they knew the rightful owner, and then the tortfeasor kept the money in hand the entire time. You can't do that. It has to be in the hands of a third party. Funds was never in the hands of a third party. You can't have interest in ownership. Funds have to be in the hands of a third party, which in that particular case, it would have been the attorneys and never sent to them. And then those funds literally have to be safeguarded in a trust or an IOLTA or some account with a fiduciary title. That was never done. I mean, hands down, it's theft. There's no way out of it. Then they embezzled it and money laundered it. So it's actually on a check. It shows this law firm pretended to be some corporate vendor for CVS Health Pharmacy Inc. Pretended it acted as if he actually, Brian Spitz, gave some type of services or whatever directly to CVS Health Pharmacy Inc. And then they, like legal services, and they rendered $15,028. But at the same time, he was actually want to take a couple of? Yeah, you can have 3 months. You want to take one out? Yeah, I think these are all criminals. But fast forward, let's just get to this. This is a judge, Kimberly Cockcroft. She's a Black judge in the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas General. It's nothing but corrupt judges there. These are imposters. They're acting in their individual capacity under guise. They're not a bit more doing anything lawful whatsoever. They all need to be usurped from office, if that's how you say it. And then at the Ohio Supreme Court, Sharon L. Kennedy is her boss, is her direct report as administrative judge. They all need to be the ones that's up there in the Supreme Court impeached. And that's Sharon L. Kennedy. Patrick DeWine, he ruled in the case that I had, the writ I had against his father. In fact, and that's nepotism. His judicial integrity should be questioned, and his ethics. He should not be a judge. He needs to be impeached immediately. Patrick DeWine, and that's 202-413-20. He should never rule on anything that could be questionable as far as bias, prejudice, and his impartiality. But this ain't the first time he's done that. Nobody's doing shit about it. He needs to be impeached. And then Sharon L. Kennedy, what they do is deem me fictitious litigator because that's nothing but a tactic to further increase my the inability to access the court, and I won't be able to utilize the e-filing portal or mail anything in. They tamper with the federal fucking mail. They mutilate it. I've turned them in. So that's mail fraud and it's wire fraud. Absolutely necessary in RICO. So all the components necessary are there. These are RICO racketeers. These are actual treasonous RICO racketeers. I mean, this is sedition and conspiracy. It's misprision of a felony. These people are hiding crimes in the federal fucking government funding grants and loans and stuff. What does that? Can't have these people in no type of government. The whole entire state of Ohio government and that courthouse needs to be shut down because all of these individuals are complicit. You'll see all of their names. You'll even see all the different prosecutors, I said. So you'll see at the Ohio Attorney General's Julie Pfeiffer, Lindsay Michelle Shealy, Mark Tucker, Brian Lee, James Reesing, Byers Emmerling. You'll see at the Franklin County prosecutors, Gary Tyak, Brandon Corey Hendrick, Nicole Ayula. I told you, Aaron Epstein, I think is at the Ohio Attorney General. Yeah, you'll see some of these private attorneys as well that know about frauds and swindles in the federal government and Medicare false claims, like Lisa Pierce Riaz. She does, and her attorney that's defending her, James Broiler. So you need to go look at all of those Ohio Supreme Court writs. And Greg Mansell, Harry Dyer, John Foreman, no, John Marshall Edward Foreman. You'll see them in an issue where what they do is with the Ohio Attorney General's office and how they did back in 2014, 2015 with Mike DeWine when he was the Ohio Attorney General. They run frauds and scams and swindles through the court, like, these court cases and things like that, that really they know that they can capitalize like class actions, but it's really a fraud scam as well. It's like half truths. Like it's true that it's a real FSLA overtime where LPNs and RNs actually were harmed and they worked for free and they were falsely imprisoned. Go look up April Clark versus Ohio Department of Rehab and Corrections Court of Claims. I was a class action representative. I never got one dime for that because really they were trying to get me out of the state. It really was whistleblower retaliation during the time that I was participating in activities. Even still, that's the reason why I called Greg Mansell. What Greg Mansell does is on his intake questions, when you're calling about an employment issue, um, he will ask you questions like, is there any overtime violations and stuff? He's looking for opportunity to capitalize about like class actions and fraud and swindle. Um, Fraud and swindling for sure in my particular case because him and Carrie Dyer and John Marshall and Reform received a bribe or a kickback for ensuring that they did not defend me after they retaliated and fired me. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep, and then Carrie Dyer actually sent an email out to all of the people that had actually harmed me while during my protected activities. The reason why I filed EEOC and Civil Rights Commission claim in the first place. She sent them an email with an investment opportunity, telling them that she had an investment opportunity. So that there told you that they all got paid for making sure I got out of the state of Ohio, and she was sending them they could invest some of their funds. Carrie Dyer did that. She should be in prison. It shows so should Greg Mansell. But yeah, now John Marshall, Edward Foreman, they have a foreman, right? They have a private practice. They brought that lawsuit under their private practice. But you'll go see when you look at all of the Ohio Supreme Court written amendments, and I named Greg Mansell and Carrie Dyer and John Marshall and Edward Foreman. I talked about the FSLA overtime where they fraud and scammed what they did was make sure I got out of the state of Ohio, but they also didn't make sure that the RNs got back their money that was stolen from them, and it was all on purpose. They didn't argue the collective bargaining unit agreement, which is the contract that the RNs had with the state of Ohio. And SEIU 1199 Ohio was in on it too. It was all deliberate and on purpose. And they took money from RNs, made them fucking work for free like goddamn slaves. And then they're skinning and grinning out here in the public, making you think that they give a fuck about your employment fucking. It's a goddamn lie. Okay. And Mike DeWine was complicit then because he was the fucking Ohio Attorney General. Okay. Bitch. And he was defending everything else that I was already filing against the state of Ohio. Okay. Now go ahead and pull the SEIU 1199 grievance portal from August 2010 to January 2016 and go see all the other culprits of the state of Ohio participating in perpetrating corrupt patterns of criminal practice. They was doing it way back then, 2010 to 2016. Sounds like predicate. Okay. So Enrico is historical, ongoing, and likely to continue. And you see why it's taken so many years for me to put all this shit together? But it's all put together. I got the aha and I got the tada. I can look at any and everything that motherfuckers is doing, and I can show you where the fraud is. And I don't have to show you none of my proof. I can show you how you can go look at your own shit and tell if you're in federal authority. You can look at your own risk management portal and you can audit systems and databases and things like that. Point blank, period. Mhm. Well, none of these motherfuckers come and say shit about what the fuck I got to say. Because you can't, there is no argument. There's no rebuttal. There's no refute. There's no contra. There's no opposition. Period. Like I said. And ain't no motherfucker going to sue me for defamation or not shit else. Not at all. But if you want to go right ahead, I'm gonna counter to your ass, bitch. So I mean, I'm waiting on that. But this motherfucker right here, Kimberly Cockcroft, as a black lady, she is actually one of those black people that hates. Oh, she hates black people too. Yeah, but then she got the audacity, nerve, and motherfucking gall to be up in this goddamn court talking about white motherfuckers that targeting her while she on the job. This one judge is suing multiple other judges in Columbus, Ohio, Franklin County Court of Common fucking Pleas. She says they're fucking racist. And she names some of the same motherfuckers that I already said was fucking racist. It ain't nothing but slavery, okay? But she's a racist motherfucker against her goddamn own. I got a case in the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas right now, General 24CV007002. It's emergency protection order. Kimberly Cockcroft is deliberately intentionally ignoring it. Okay? Then the people named as defendants, Ohio attorney Alex Castle, who gang stalks me, comes by my house and shit like that. And so does Aaron McDaniel, so does Whitney Ramsey, so does Rashad Anderson a couple of times. That motherfucker been over here. Okay. Patricia Ann Collins, the lady who lives right here, she told me, I can't wait until you're gone. You're going to pay for this. And she goes outside and shoots fucking cats with a goddamn BB gun that looks like a real motherfucking firearm. Excuse me? No. Everybody on every public platform needs to know about this because anybody comes by my motherfucking house, I fear for my life. Okay. Don't come by here. You're not welcome. These people keep trying anything that they can is fake, is frivolous. They make up all these court cases, purposely for any reason and way to segue themselves into my house, up close to my family, so they can cause some type of physical, imminent types of catastrophic injury, including fatality type of shit. But no one will ever know because everything looks so legitimate on a court record case. Right? No, it's not. It's not. And all these people are gang stalkers, and they're all criminals, and they're all group members of a distinct enterprise. Yes, separate, distinct enterprise. Are gang members. Yep. Rico racketeering. Yep. These are treasonous Rico racketeers. They need to be out of these fucking offices, impeached. This is what I'm telling you. And these are the same motherfuckers that are locked up motherfuckers, innocent people, case fix the outcome, put in fake frivolous bullshit, paid motherfuckers to lie, doctors, nurses, social fucking workers, psychologists, and therapists, and anybody else they done paid to so experts and to say whatever the fucking right things up to where it looks good on fucking paper because it's all well calculated scam and scheme. And that one man who just got out and served all that fucking time in prison, it was the Ohio Supreme Court Joe fucking Dieters pieces ass that did that shit. They're all fucking racist. Okay. Yeah. So, but this black bitch, she reports to Sharon L. Kennedy. So that's why that motherfucker, she probably told her, don't you rule on that fucking case. It's obstruction of justice. This is abuse of power. These are high crimes. They cannot be in office as constitutional rights deprivations of the public law. They are actually infringing, impinging, encroaching. Subrogating, abrogating individual inalienable rights. There's a lot of frauds and swindles. You need to go and look at those Ohio Supreme Court cases so you can see every other fraud and swindle that's exposed. Go look at every one of it because it's time for these motherfuckers to go to prison. You wondering who was stealing all the federal funding? These motherfuckers. They're all like a who's the clues. It's your judges, it's your judge magistrates, your clerk support, your quasi judicial long arm of the judge, your attorneys. Ohio is the epitome, working in cahoots and collusion with the public officers like Governor Mike DeWine, Dave Yost, the U.S. attorneys of Ohio, all of that. The judges and shit clerks, all that at the U.S. District Court of Ohio Southern, U.S. District Court of Ohio Northern, like David Ruiz, he's covered up frauds and swindles in education. Ashland University, their teachers and everybody else in cahoots and collusion, making up fake courses and curriculum and stuff like that, and saying preceptor hours is really not as shadowing events and stuff like that, scamming their own accrediting body and the federal governmental funds. They already got fined for the for FAFSA type of shit they was doing. Fraud and them funds, they owed like 6 million. David Ruiz was on that case, and he's also on my case, which is 2:24 CV177 him and Sandy Opak, the clerk, who's in collusion, obstructed justice, trying to cover that up, case fixing, dismiss that fucking case, saying I'm not pauper status. I am pauper status. That's another tactic that they do. They'll try to take away your indigency or act like you can't seek justice if you don't have the funds. It's all fake. It's all frivolous, and these are your paupers. But let's look at what this black bitch is talking about. Okay, she said that they're targeting her. But I'm gonna tell you, this could all be a scam and a motherfucking scheme. That's how they do shit. They file shit in court. It could look good on paper. She could be filing this shit and all that, but it really could be a whole scam. So they can get paid out of the Franklin County, because this is Franklin County, out of those funds, taxpayer dollars, and get paid and divvy up all the money. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did in the state of Ohio. They filed a class action. Yeah, the LPNs did get money back. They needed to. So did the RNs, but the reason why they really didn't go through with that is because they was trying to figure out a way to get me out of Ohio. But they, at the same time, still harmed RNs. And it was all in cahoots and collusion, each other, even the state of Ohio personnel board. It's the shit, the corruption and organized crime stems very, very deep. It really does. That's why you have to have the awareness so that you can decide on your own, because they damn sure don't want me to be able to have access to with a jury, because of that, which is a neutral tribunal, because a neutral tribunal has objective eyes. They look at things with through transparent eyes. They're not on my side. They're not on anybody's side. They're just looking at the facts, and that's it. And that's why they take all my rights away. I can't have access to the court. Anything that you see a name by way of vexatious litigator, that's actually a lie, because they're fraud. But you can Google my name, April Clark, and then say vexatious litigator. Algernon Marbley did that, and so did Sharon L. Kennedy on purpose. And they did it in collusion with Dave Yost. Mm-hmm. Yep, and nobody will put a oath or affirmation under penalty of perjury on a court record, and also no one will put their FARA, these attorneys, on. But you can see all the corporates. It's the bar guild. The bar guild itself is your menaces to society. They're actually public safety and national security, out to harm the taxpayer, the voters, the people, the United States, the federal and the state government. They should be locked up. It's true, pretty much. So we're just gonna go down. I'm gonna find her amended complaint and open it. Hang on one second. Yes, it is.
Yeah, she knew she could have changed her mind. Ass got her ass in just uh, fucking weirdo. Big girl.
Yeah, coffee. You want me to get her happy meal off your card? No, I wanted it. Hey, replacing others with this another card. Um, okay, let's just go. Sorry for the intermission. So here's your case. This is Kimberly Cockcroft. She's an administrative judge in Columbus, Ohio, suing other judges in the Franklin County of Ohio. So Richard Fry, Colleen O'Donnell, I don't know who that. Kimberly J. Brown, I believe, is the judge who was in the case, Franklin County Court of Common Pleas, domestic 24JU 583. I believe it's 958, or it might be, it's either 24JU 5839 or 5837. That's a case, a family court type of a case that you might be interested in at that particular. Kim Brown is seemingly complicit with Benita Reedus and Michelle L. Stroud, Aaron Hanser, Paula J. Copeland. Paula J. Copeland is a private attorney out there with an LLC, and what Benita Reedus does is funnel money to her, buying through the court in commercial transactions, guised as court proceedings, yeah, to evade the tax man. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and if Internal Revenue Services, ICE division comes and does an audit, they'll see they're doing. And they'll see that these actual cases aren't real cases that warrant guardian ad litems at all, nor mediation, nor home studies. Like the guy Aaron Hansen, they put on that particular case through a home study, and they put Paula J. Copeland as a guardian ad litem, and they put in a case that has no issue of safety or concern for the child. Both parents are fit and competent. There's no law enforcement. There's no yes. There's absolutely nothing whatsoever. The father in that particular case just needed to get something that the Columbus City Schools actually told him he needed to have to prove that or show that his daughter lives with him. You see what the fundamental parental right deprivations are. Who the fuck does Columbus City Schools think they are to tell this man that his own daughter lives with him and been living with him ever since she was born? Who the fuck are they to tell him he got to file something in the goddamn court just to get a piece of paper to get access to, was to get his non-verbal fucking autistic 6-year-old child in the Spanish school that her goddamn expert speech therapist recommended. That's the fuck shit. That case is two fit fucking parents. There's no battle or argument or issue regarding where the child stays. The mother wants the child to be with her, and the child has been with her father since the day the child came out of her mother's fucking vagina. So who the fuck does Columbus City schools think they are to come and abrogate and subrogate his motherfucking fundamental, inalienable, God-given motherfucking rights? Okay? Or who does the fucking state think they are? But Anita Reedus turned that case into a fake frivolous fraudulent court proceeding, and it's all on purpose. That's what they do, is case fixing outcomes. And really, what it is, this is how they traffic kids. This is how they kidnap and traffic people's kids. It's all fake frivolous, but you will believe them in the public because you say, "Oh, it's a court order coming from a judge," but they're utilizing their position and they're actually abusing it to fraud and swindle. Yeah, fraud the United States, fraud the people, take your kids, do whatever, anything they could possibly do. They want it all. Yeah, who's gonna do something about it? That's what I want to know. But anyway, she's suing her. Stephen McIntosh, Michael Holbrook. Remember, Michael Holbrook is complicit in the cover of and concealment of grand larceny of my 15,028 that's been embezzled and laundered. Yep, who stole it? Brian Spitz, Trisha Breed, Lovegrave, Schumacher, attorneys of the Spitz Law Firm, and Alex Frondorf, Richard Diageo of Litton Middleton PC. Yep, they covered up the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They covered up the EEOC mediation settlement agreement, contractual agreement. They started a case down here where they really didn't have any fucking jurisdiction, so they don't have any immunity. Yep, that's Michael Holbrook, and he's also in cahoots and collusion with an attorney named James Gallagher, and they run frauds and scams and schemes of insurance, like Grange Insurance. There's a particular case right now going on that's actually, they should have been settled. But Grange's employees and agents and representatives are actually, trying to evade their own personal individual tortious acts of fraud and bad faith in dealings. Yep. And they got their attorney at the forefront, who's in collusion with Michael J. Holbrook, helping and dismissing shit and then not allowing amended complaints. That's Michael Holbrook. It's case fixing. He ignores motions that are right for decision, just like Kimberly Cockcroft ignores motions that are right for decision. They ignore cases altogether, anything that has my name on it, because it's whistleblower retaliation. There's no way in hell ever in life in the state of Ohio I'd ever be able to get a fair trial, to have a neutral tribunal. Everything is biased, it's prejudiced. Yeah, there's nothing impartial about any of these courts or any of these people. These are actual culprits in RICO racketeering, organized crime, public corruption. They're the ones frauding the federal government, and we, the people, the taxpayers, the voters, yeah, they are. Wonder who's going to arrest these motherfuckers. So here's Jeffrey Brown. I don't know him. Here's another one. There's Christopher M. Brown. He is a criminal. He's saying he's a racist. We know he's a racist. Christopher Brown's a racist, and so is fucking Michael Holbrook. We know for sure these motherfuckers is racist. And who do we see here? Karen Held Phipps, another fucking racist. Karen Held Phipps was in cahoots of collusion with Alex Castle, Michael Casson, 22CV003620, Franklin County Court of Common Pleas General, covering up frauds and swindles on home insurance and shit like that. Insurance and federal governmental grants and loans and all this other type of fuck shit in cahoots and collusion with the city and city council and public officials and court officers and other attorneys, bar guildmen, and the Ohio Bar Association does have grief. All these people, they know about it. You think they reported to the federal government? You know, you have to report RICO or you're complicit, right? Yep. So everybody, yay! Columbus Bar, they know Kent Marcus. We got emails with him on it. Oh my God, everybody's going to prison. Yeah, yeah. Who else? Ohio Supreme Court disciplinary, Christopher Colossa. He was actually on a email with Brian Spitz and Trisha Breedlove, Greg Schumacher, Alex Front. They tried to get Brian Spitz tried to offer me $1,000 of my very own motherfucking money that he goddamn stole. He was copying Christopher Colossa, a bar council person, the whole Ohio Bar Association. Oh. Yeah, they case fixed. So all their little settlement conferences, don't ever get no mediation shit with arbitrators. They're all attorneys. They're all butt fucking each other. They're all using you as a goddamn scapegoat to line their own pockets. Yep. So it's all coming to like that. Because all these people are fucking racist. Yeah, go look at this. But she's a fucking racist. The bitch don't like her very own kind. Motherfucker, why ain't you rude on my case? I'm a black woman. She's a whole black bitch. But she's gang stalking me right along with him because there is no other reason or rationale why she wouldn't have ruled on that fucking case or done anything on it. Kimberly Cockcroft is a fucking hypocrite. Okay? She's a black bitch that don't no black person ever need to vote for ever in life for no role like this at all. She's a handkerchief house motherfucker. That's what she is. And all these black motherfuckers that's in these courts are Harry Jameson, oh baby fucking Blunt. Then and she wrote in here that these white judges told her that she should be more like Joyce Beatty and Lil Beatty Blunt. That's because they kiss their ass, boot licking assholes and shit like that. These is the blacks that hate their very own kind and they will war against you, honey. Yeah, they will. This was the ones that was in the house telling on other blacks and shit like that. Hey, you better shut up. But this bitch right here, she tells it all. This is she says she's reports to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. That's Sharon L. Kennedy. They're in cahoots and collusion. It's a lot of ex parte contact and communications, whistleblower retaliation, gang stalking. Yeah, so I got to let everybody know because when one of these motherfuckers come by my house unannounced and I take their head off and they don't breathe again, it's self-defense. I'm telling you, I'm gonna stand my ground. They keep bothering me. They every day they try to seize my housing. They've already seized the educational opportunity from me because it's education, frauds, and swindles on the federal government, FAFSA, HRSA, nurse faculty loans, and shit like all them doctors and nursing practices in on it. They need their licenses taken. Theta Hostler, Rachel Hoffer, uh-huh. Yeah, Jill Baxter, Carrie Keeb, uh-huh. They all need their licenses taken. They're frauding the federal government and covering it up. And that's what it's always retaliation. So they make up something, make it seem like it's legitimate. So they made, oh, you failed two courses, so we had to kick you out. I've never failed no fucking course, first of all. And if there's anything they failed, they conjured it up. They kicked me out of the pharmacology one course that has an actual residency to it right at the point that I had turned them into the U.S. Department of Education, and put in complaints that was going on social media and telling them about it. Yeah, I was already in the course. There was no work to be done yet. We were supposed to go um, and shadow a fucking nurse practitioner, but they had already told their accrediting body and the federal government in that fake frivolous application for funding that this clinical hours, it's not clinical hours, it's not preceptor hours, it's a shadow only. But they have lied. It's fraud, and that's what they did. They create fake frivolous courses, and they added another course called a residency one, that you don't ever have a contact with a patient whatsoever. You can't have access to e-filing. I mean, of the medical record or whatever at all. But they have you that the course looks like you do. The course you have to write a SOAP note, but you can't write a SOAP note if you don't have a patient because you have to have the subjective data. You have to know what's going on with the patient. So that's how they're getting away with. They're getting funding for shit. It's not real. They also had you looking for a pharmacist. You had to look for your own pharmacist that you had to precept with. That's not even allowed by law. The pharmacy board doesn't allow nurses to come and shadow and sit with them and stuff. They're writing up fake frivolous shits and getting paid all these grant funds, and then they try to hold me accountable. They kicked me out of the doctor of nursing practice program because I uncovered their fraud scams. That's what they did, and they come up with fake frivolous shit and try to get away with it. And then when I sue them in court because it's a harm, then they get pissed and they get in cahoots and collusion with judges and they case fix because they're really all in cahoots and collusion together, anyways, running other types of crimes and scams and schemes on the United States government, insurance companies, federal governmental programs and stuff like that. And if my cases hit the a case record or something like that, it's going to bring public awareness and things like that. And if a jury looks at it, and they're going to be found out because my civil cases will turn into criminal cases. You see, and that's why they don't answer anything because they know it's a potential for it to turn into criminal. Why would you answer? Because in a criminal, you have a right to what remain silent, Fifth Amendment. So they're not answering anything that I put. They just work with their but fucking judge buddies and shit like that to cover things up in case fix and conceal aid in the bed, and all this deem me vexatious, take away additional constitutional rights and shit like that, and make sure I can't access the court, make sure the public doesn't know all that. But they never did that. I really was going to come to the public and keep telling the dog, don't ever call me no liar. I don't lie. And also don't ever steal shit from me. I didn't let them steal it far too long. They keep stealing my equity property. And a motherfucker turn around and steal 15,000, 20, and Brian Fisher should breathe like Gray Schumacher ain't never did nothing for me. They don't have no contractual agreement that's legally binding and enforceable. No, they don't. They don't have no motion. They don't have no brief. They don't have no pleading. They never did a deposition. They never participated in discovery. They didn't file that court case into the U.S. District Court of Ohio, Southern 2:22 CV02519. They don't have any fronted costs. Why won't Brian Spencer, Trisha Bree, Love, Gray Schumacher speak to this? Can they show you something that they did for me they get paid for? You have to look at that particular case in quantum merit anyways. But the reason why they stole the funds is because they know they don't have the burden of proof. Because if they would sue me as a creditor asserting indebtedness, they would lose right? Because they don't have any work. They don't have anything. You have to come with the burden. So that's why they got to go to collusion. And plus, Mr. Diageo of Letterman's a PC had already told them that he had a check for him. He had a contract for him. But he never went back and told them the truth about him cahooting and colluding and conspiring with Salvador Lopez, the EEOC, though, did he? And then he sent me his red line draft revision shit. He This motherfucker paying both sides of the fence. He can't stand his own goddamn clients and telling me shit. It's all in writing. And he sent me shit from his goddamn cell phone and everything. I put it all in the court. But motherfuckers act like there ain't no material fact. That's Karen, Chris Brown, Michael Holbrook, Karen, hell, Phipps, they all do the same shit as case fixing. And then when you appeal it, it goes to de novo, but they still keep the fuck fraud shit going. They don't fully brief the case record. It's not true. It's still a cover up. That's what Terry Jameson, um, Julia Dore, and Christian Boggs did in the Hall Court of Appeals of 10, 2-3 AP 670, 2-3 AP 671. They just kept with the fuck shit. But they all know about RICO, racketeering, and crime scenes. And then what they do, they strike stuff off the record. That's actual proof. Like Betsy L. Schuster struck a Rule 6. That bitch is nuts, ain't she? These are psychopaths. They'll do anything. Yeah, these are Alex Murdaugh's fucking brewing. I am a goddamn killer head ass bitches. Yeah, they are. You know all them fellows from Ohio be on Snap. This is them. hmm hmm So yeah, I don't lie about shit. And ain't none of these bitches gonna come say shit about it. I want to know when they're gonna be arrested because they are a national security risk. Okay, hello? Yeah, so this motherfucker right here is telling you who she speaks to. Um, reports to, and that's the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Sharon L. Kennedy. They're in cahoots and collusion. They're talking about my cases, so all of my cases. That's who's going up there telling her all my cases. That's in the common pleas bullshit. Mhm. So then she even talks about how the clerks of court create generic cases, and that's what they did too. They make up fake frivolous emails or use each other's emails and things like that to make up fake frivolous cases, like with defendants and plaintiffs and all that. And they run all these schemes to fraud the county or whatever funds that's the people's, like federal or public funds. They'll make up cases so that they can get those funds. Well, no one individually will really be paying because they're getting into the pot of the federal governmental funds with their schemes and scams. You understand? Yeah, it's true. They're evading like the tax man with the commercial transactions and bullshit like that because court proceedings are not taxable income. So that's how you see Benita Ritas making sure that her colleague Paula J. Cope, private LLC out here, actually has business. That she'll put them on these cases in the family court as guardian ad litem, but you really don't need a guardian ad litem. Guardian ad litem is last resort emergency situations. That's when you put guardian ad litem in people's cases where there's an issue of someone like a child being in harm's way, the parents aren't fit and competent, you got law enforcement involved, it's domestic violence involved, it's children's services, like CPS types of cases involved, and stuff like that. But in most of these situations, at least in that particular case, of domestic relations, it was not. It was a scam. And then Benita Rita sent the parents a letter saying that if you have anybody around you, you're not allowed to have anybody around you during the Zoom meeting. I will have you come in. Bitch, who the fuck you think you are? That's the thing. You talking to two grown ass motherfuckers with kids of their own, bitch. You don't tell them they can have nobody around them in their very own fucking household. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Black ass frizzy head slave master. Benita Rita's ass. You better send her fucking Michael Jackson wannabe Benita Applebaum ass the fuck down, bitch. And that's what they do. But they didn't know who they was fucking with. They tried to come from my family. Okay. But these are motherfucking wrongdoers. Pissed because they got caught the fuck shit bullshit they doing. And this bitch right here is complicit. So now she want to come and run and cry. Want a motherfucker feel sorry for her because some white people is discriminating against her because she black. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Your black ass discriminating against your own fucking black motherfucking sister like that. Bitch, get out of here. Sit down. Take several seats, motherfucker. Rough bitch. Fuck you. Bitch ain't black. Mm-mm. Not at all. And neither is Terry Jameson or Lil Beatty Blood. That's why they told the hoe to be more like Joyce Beatty and Lil Beatty Blood, because them bitch ass hoes, them is the ones too. Crying every night, praying, wishing they motherfucking ass was white. Fuck these bitches. This shit. Yeah, so Yeah, she also talks about how the clerks, I said, make generic fucking accounts, and they can also disable and manipulate the motherfucking e-filing portal. And that's what they do all the time. But they'll make sure your notice of appeal won't get in, honey. They'll make sure any and everything, they'll make sure your notice of removal won't get in there, bitch. And then they'll write up shit and pretend to act like, oh, failure to prosecute. We haven't heard from you. Oh, you never did send this in, but you have sent it in all along. But they mutilated and manipulated the e-filing and the U.S. mail. Richard Nagel does that at the U.S. District Court of Ohio Southern. Sandy Opak does it at the U.S. District of Ohio Northern. Ohio Supreme Court Robert Vaughn does it. Yeah, absolutely. U.S. Court of Appeals, Sixth Circuit Evans does it. This is why your loved ones and shit like that sitting in prison all that time for years and years and years. They making sure ain't no appeals and everything's case fixed and they're in cahoots and collusion with these goddamn prosecutors like the Ohio Attorney General telling these motherfucking police officers, get your license plate, follow you, knowing where you are, paying motherfuckers to do whatever the fuck, put a goddamn hit on you or your motherfucking family, put shit in your goddamn car, plant and shit, then make up lies, pay people to fucking lie and shit like that. Fuck these hoes. They all need to be in prison. Well, all these people are around up and put in prison. Things with humanity in the world will probably be better. We'll probably be able to get back to America. Elon Musk $1 trillion motherfucking deficit goal will definitely be met once he wrap these motherfuckers up, hold them accountable, and they go through all they goddamn audit and system, see how many governmental funds and grants and loans and all this shit and all these false claims and fucking bullshit exists. You're gonna see the paupers. You already see who they are. I'm telling you now, I'm naming the names though. This is the way these are the motherfuckers. And Mike DeWine is complicit. Yes, he is. He's the main one. That's when the whole Ohio started going downhill when he got in. Mm-hmm. Mike DeWine is big eyeball motherfucker quit for using federal funds to make them fucking piece of shit pies with friends ugly ass. Look at these funds. Yeah, it is. 86. Let's look at 86 and I'm gonna get off. Kay Brown then relayed to Bedsoe that the clerk of court stated at the June 6, 2022 meeting that the Common Pleas Administrative Judge made the decision to facilitate a cybersecurity risk by allowing use of generic accounts for purposes of electronic filing, and that the clerk would be disabling those accounts unless and until she received an order from the clerk allowing the practice to continue. She doesn't really know that she's inadvertently exposing the capability to manipulate the case record, e-filing, and to create fake frivolous generic accounts. And that's what they do all the time. It's part of their tactics. Okay. Yeah. So go and look at this case. I'm going to go back up and keep a close eye because in most recently in one of my replying opposition to a motion to dismiss a warrant, so these people don't have warrant authority jurisdiction to rule or do any fucking thing that they're doing. These are imposters. They should be out of the office and these are criminals. Okay. Yes, you're welcome. There you go. Take a screenshot of that and keep an eye on it. Mhm. This is a hypocrite, Black.